So our reading this morning is from the book Busting Loose from the Money Game by Robert Scheinfeld. This is a quote from Joseph Whitfield. Truth has a way of reaching the soul of the seeker, even though the outer garments may temporarily distract the gaze. So in this moment, right here, right now, I just feel and know and recognize and acknowledge the very presence of the divine. That one life, living, moving, having its being, its experience, and its expression in the manifest universe, knowing that all things in the manifest universe are the body of God, I know that I am one in this life. I know that each one of us here, in person and online, that we are all one in this same life. And I just bless this time together. I know this is sacred time. This is sacred space. There's no distance in the spiritual world, that we are all connected, that we are all one. And I'm so grateful for this time together. I know that Reverend Suzette is just divinely guided and inspired, and the words that she speaks and the message that she shares is just coming straight from the divine through her being to each one of us as a gift. I know that we are abundantly blessed. And as the reading this morning said, the truth always reaches the seeker. And I just know that I release any distractions and allow the truth to reach me. I allow the truth to reach each one of us. For we are blessed, and we are each a blessing in this life, in this world, in all things. And for this, I am so deeply grateful. I'm grateful for our musicians. I'm grateful for Martin, our technology guy, for Emma, who's the hostess with the mostest, and for everyone else who is pitching in this morning to be of service, and those who are here just to receive the gift of this amazing blessing. And so I just declare this time good. I open this service up. I call it forth into being, saying, let it be done. And so it is. I always forget this part. And our musicians are here to lift us up.
Thank you.
Jack Nalbandian. All right. Put your hands together and sing along if you feel like it. There's a soul raising going on here.
I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. Take it away, Sister Sylvia.
I got a new day.
I got a new day.
In my soul.
Down in my soul.
I got a new day.
I got a new day.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I got a new day.
I got a new day.
Down in my soul, yeah. And the whole wide world is my home. Yeah.
I love the silence.
I love the silence.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I love the silence.
Silence.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
I love the silence. Down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home.
All right.
I feel the power.
I feel the power. Come on now.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul. Sing it out.
I feel the power.
I feel the power.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul. Come on now.
I feel the power.
I feel the power.
Down in my soul.
Down in my soul.
And the whole wide world is my home. Yes, it is.
Oh, let me
And the
tell ya.
whole wide world is my home.
Oh, can I feel it, feel it, feel it in my soul. I can feel it down the top of my head to my toes. It is God, love,
And the whole wide world is my home. Is our home.
that was fun. Took me back to my Baptist days.
Yeah.
Go, Jesus!
Yeah. With a new age twist.
With a new age twist, that's right. New
A
thought.
lemon twist, if you will.
New thought. All right. Well, I'll do a few things while they're getting started or moved over. You'll notice there's something a little different today, and we're going to do this now, is you have one sheet that you can take home for taking notes, because a lot of people like to take notes. So, and then on the back are who the ministers are and the order of service. So instead of making a new program every month, I'm just going to do this, and that way you can take all of this. Additionally, next week we will have a beautiful, beautiful card about the same size for a postcard for our practitioners, and so it tells you what our practitioners does. So I'm very excited about that because I think they are a very important part of our organization. So, all right, you warm me up there. So we're going to start out today with, well, first let me do this. I never do this, and I want to do this. I want to welcome you to OM, Centers for Spiritual Living. And I want to welcome those that are on the internet. You'll notice that Mava has a hat on. So one of the things we want to do is the not next week, but you can do it next week. Next week and the last Sunday of the month, we want you to all wear a hat for Halloween. Let's have some fun. That sound like a plan? Everybody got a favorite hat? Okay. I have a bunny hat where I don't know if I still have it, but the ears went up and down. Anyway, wear a hat, and I will be here on that day too. I want to also welcome those that will be joining us later on YouTube, which, by the way, this is broadcasts on YouTube. I've been able to watch myself and going, I need to make a few changes. But it is broadcast on YouTube under OM Center for Spiritual Living, and it is broadcast on Sundays across the country through a New Thought Media Network. So that's kind of exciting. So all of the talks that we have and we give are now broadcast across the United States. So know that. Yay. Yeah. Yay. Hey, Carl. How's that computer?
It's good. I got cheated and robbed.
No.
Yes, I'm out $140 I can't get back in.
We'll talk.
Yes, we will.
We will talk. We'll get talking about that. We'll help you out. All right, so today the talk is about playing with money. I have to bring a few $50 bills up here with me today. So we're going to play with money. Ooh. We're going to talk about that. But we're going to start out with the affirmation. Because I want you to start out with the knowingness that you're a money magnet and you're circulating it. So I want you to repeat after me. And depending on how loud you are, you may repeat it a few times. So, ready?
Yes.
I'm open fully to God's circulation in my life as money. I'm open fully to God's circulation in my life as money. That was pretty good. Want to do it one more time?
Yes.
All right. I'm open fully to God's circulation in my life as money. Very good. Just take that in, because it's all about circulation. Charles Fillmore says this: prosperity is not wholly a matter of capital or environment, but a condition brought about by certain ideas that have been allowed to rule in the consciousness. Certain ideas that have been allowed to rule in the consciousness. So what's in your consciousness about money? We need to think about that. Now, I want to acknowledge that finances can be a struggle, yes, or they can be a lot of joy. We have to be able to go, well, I'm here, but I want to get over here. And so this month is about learning, and not just this month, but today is about how do I make my money circulate through me to do good in the world. Not just how do I get money, but how do I make it and get more? Because there's no lack of money. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Now, I also want to say that, interesting enough, in doing this talk, most times we don't talk about money, right? If we talk about money, we're talking about tithing. Oh, no. So a church doesn't normally talk about money, but today we're really going to, because I want you, see, my vision for everyone here is that not only do you have enough to live on, but you have an abundance to live on, and you have more to give away. Because when you give it away, do you want to know what happens? Only one thing. It comes back to you. And not just a little bit, but a lot. So keep that in mind. So today, Raymond Charles Barker said this: God's idea of circulation and activity in my world. In other words, money is a circulation and activity of His world. And we have to allow, and I'll talk a little bit about my experience too, but we have to allow that circulation of money to be what we are doing in the world, in our life. We have to love money. We have to love money. It does, yeah. But not be held back by hoarding. And I can appreciate, sometimes I've heard people say, well, I'm on a fixed income. Well, if you're on a fixed income, you're going to stay on a fixed income. But you are not on a fixed income. I'm going to tell you that right now. There is an abundance. So, let me go to the first slide I want to talk about. There is little likelihood that your life can become fully functioning and prosperous unless you have a positive and creative attitude towards money. Eric Butterworth. If we don't, I kiss the money, and I'll tell you why in a minute why I do that. But we have to have an attitude of there's more than enough, there's plenty. If we don't, the universe says, okay, that's fine, no problem, I'll just take it away. I mean, I have worked with people who, I'll never forget this. I had a gentleman come to me, this is years ago. He says, I get it, and then as soon as I get it, it's gone. That's God calling. I'll call him later. But the truth is that if we have that attitude, whatever amount of money we get, it's going to go away. That's how the law works. So it's important about how do we think about this. Science of Mind says this. They say the abundance, there we go. The abundance, opulence, and joy of the universe should be reflected in our lives. Since we are expressions of the universe, so is money. Trivent Financial, Fortune 500 not-for-profit, uses the phrase, money is a tool, not a goal. When we recognize that we have the privilege of using this divine idea in the mind of God, money as a tool to express the nature of the divine, we open it to the sacredness as well as our own world. So I'm going to put these words together, divine idea and sacredness, and as we use it in the world. I'm going to pound on this because this is the secret. Everybody wants to know, how do I get more money? It's about your consciousness, it's about knowing that money is sacred and that we use it to do good in the world. I talk about this a lot, doing good in the world. Ernest Holmes says this, he says, I always have an abundance of money and an abundance of whatever it takes to make life happy and opulent. There is a continuous movement towards me of supply, of money, of all that I need to express the fullest life, happiness, and action. I thought this was so important for you to know that it is on your chair. So let me ask, and I want everybody to be honest here because I have this happen to me too. How often, or not often, how many here actually, sometime during the last couple of months, have felt like, I don't have enough? It comes up. It's okay if it comes up. What we have to do is we have to work with our heart and our mind and to know there's more than enough. And anytime this comes up again, in fact, I would invite you to put this on your mirror somewhere, as that you read this. You read this affirmation. I always have an abundance of money and an abundance of whatever it takes to make life happy and opulent. There is a continuous movement towards me of supply of money, of all that I need to express the fullest life, happiness, and action. Now, you also have a kindness card attached to this. The one thing, and you'll notice the hats that we have, all say kindness on them. The one thing that you can do is give away kindness. Kindness is what we need a lot of right now. Life is a little on the tough side. So you have a card, and it's so simple. You don't even have to give it to a person. You can just put it on a table, and when you turn it over, it says, you've been given a kindness card. Someone reached out to you with an anonymous act of kindness. Now it's your chance to do the same. Do something nice for someone. Leave this card somewhere. Be kind and pass it on. You know, I've talked many times about if each one of us do one act, and then one person does another act, it just spreads. It's like throwing a rock into water. It must spread. So these are for you. We have lots of these. Lots of these in the back. You can take a handful, and I will order more if we run out. So give away your kindness. Now, I use this as the beginning stages of giving away your gifts. It's the easiest thing you can do. All right. So I've heard a couple times now in the different talks, because I listen to the talks, that the statement, money is the root of all evil. Has anybody else heard that one? Yeah. And since we had a revival this morning, we know that money is the root of all evil. So what I want you to get today is, at least I'll say for myself, and maybe you'll take this along with you, is that we've all been stuck with this idea that money is the root of all evil. Well, I'm going to have you look at it a different way. So I thought, okay, well, I know Jerry did this. I think Natasha might have done this too. But I looked it up in the Bible. And actually, I went to the internet because it gives me a bunch of resources. And so there must have been 25, 30 interpretations of this one statement. So I just picked one. So we're all going to read this together. You don't need the lights. We need this. So here's what this one interpretation was. Those who want to be rich, however, fall into temptation and become ensnared by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. By craving it, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves into many sorrows. So by craving it, I gotta have it, I gotta have it, I gotta have it. Anybody been in that place? I have. I have definitely been in that place, and I know what that feels like. But I know when I was in that place, I wasn't thinking about God. It just was. Now, I've interpreted this to, I think, what that really means. And I had to write it down. Can you please forward that? So I say another way of interpreting this is when money runs our life, the tendency is to become lost in it. How much? What can I buy? Instead of how can I use this for good in my life and others? It's not quantity of money, but the quality of life. really important to get this because it's so easy when we don't have enough to feel like I am there and I can't get out of that. But I have some more statistics that are going to hopefully move you to the other side. Now, if you're already there, that's great. I know when I was writing this talk, I was going back through my life and looking at where have I been, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But where have I been, and now why do I look at it this way? I've had to move my life that direction. And that if I can do it, anybody can do it. It may take time, but it can happen. Don McGill Ruiz says this about money, and I'm going to kind of read these, but see if any of these resonate with you. First one was, many of us have been domesticated into believing that money is bad, evil, not spiritual, and such. Anybody have believed that one? Have you heard that one? We've heard that one, right? Many carry judgment, shame, and guilt around money. If you grew up as a Baptist, you grew up with judgment, shame, and guilt. But give it to the church. If you've been to Europe and gone to any of the cathedrals in Europe, they are filled, the whole insides are gold. They're gold. We're taught not to talk about it, pretend we don't want it, even though we do. Money's not an easy subject sometimes. If we have lots, we either flaunt it or we hide it. If we have a little, we also flaunt it. Talk about our poverty makes us good people, or we hide it. And for many, money is the epicenter of the belief that I shouldn't have what I really want. I can remember all of those growing up as a kid. At some point in my life, I think I heard all of those. Here's the truth. Money is a divine idea of circulation in what we call our human world. It's a divine idea of circulation in the human world. And thus, if it's a divine idea, it must be sacred. Get that? It must be sacred. Just like everything else in the world is. Like you are. You're sacred. And God would not give you money if you weren't meant to have it. And you come here because I want to teach you how to be good stewards of it. How to get more. It's not about more so that you could go out and be lavish, like, and be evil. It's more so that you can give it away. It's really cool when you can do that. The second thing is that money is an effect. And it responds to our consciousness, just as our body does in the world and our affairs. So it's like anything. What does God say? God says yes. So if we say, I don't have enough, then what does God say?
Okay.
Oh, come on. What's God say? Yes. Yes. But if we say, it's coming to me, what does God say? Yes. It's like when we started our service, we had, 10 people, 12 people. I said, they're on their way. God said yes.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And then we have to start looking at everything we do and then we catch ourselves. And you know what? I catch myself every once in a while where I'll just go, oh, well, whatever. And I'll go, no. And I'll just reverse it. In fact, I had a conversation with somebody this week about driving and how I used to drive 30,000 miles a year. That's a lot of driving. And in that driving, your mind just wanders. Well, mine would wander in, you're going to get in an accident. God says, yes. And I did have a couple of accidents. But I learned that instead of, when that kind of weird thing came up in my mind, I would then go, no, that's not true. And I'd actually reverse the entire movie that was in my head. And then I put a big bubble around me, and I go down the freeway 80 miles an hour. I wasn't afraid. But our mind is very creative. It will give us what we say we want. The other thing is that money, and I've heard this too, but I never really thought a lot about it, but it's true. Money's a symbol, and it's only it's energy. So it's energy around our belief and our feelings around money. If we have energy around it that we don't have enough, then we don't have enough. We're perpetuating that energy. So think about that. And the other thing is that money's not good or bad. Anybody think money's good or bad? Okay. If you do, it's okay. I mean, I know I have. I have thought, oh God, why isn't there enough for me? Good or bad? So I'm going to take us through a little affirmative process right now. And you get to close your eyes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read an affirmation from Catherine Ponder. Now, if you took the money course of 12 weeks with us during summer, you have this. If you want this information, email me and I'll email you the whole, there's like 8 pages of this. But what's cool about it is that it's constant affirmations of abundance in different kinds. And what I had us do during our class is that each person had to read I asked them to read 1 page a day. If they did, okay. If they didn't, it was okay too. But the point being is that that information was right there for them. Okay, before I read this, one more thing. Part of filling our mind with this kind of information, pretty soon our mind becomes automatic. If we just say, oh yeah, that was good on Sunday, then God's going to say, that was good on Sunday. But if you do it every single day, just like that little card I gave you, pretty soon something starts to click. And when that starts to click, what happens is the universe says, you start to believe me. I'm going to show you how this works. This is the spiritual secret that nobody talks about. We need to know this. This is really important. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. So this is for you. Today I claim abundance, wealth, health, and happiness. Divine intelligence is even now opening all the ways for my immediate blessings. I have faith that all that is mine by divine right now comes to me in rich abundance. I have faith that all that is mine by divine right now comes to me in rich abundance. My rich blessings do not interfere with anyone else's good, since God's rich substance is unlimited and everywhere for all of us. There is no delay. That which is not for my highest good now fades from me and no longer desires it. My God-given desires are richly fulfilled now in God's own wonderful way. And so it is. So what I want you to know, and if you want this quote, I'm happy to send this to you too, but I'd rather send you all of Catherine Ponder. She's so beautiful. It's really good information. Is to know that we are immersed in what I call the wealth of God. And that God will never, ever, ever cut you off. And we need to know this at a very cellular level so that we can trust this, we can be at peace, and know that we're in the flow. We're in the circulation flow of God. So if that's not happening, we need to continue to work on this. So I'm going to tell you a story. This is a true story. It's about Mary Morrissey. Everybody knows Mary Morrissey. She's Prosperity Plus person. I won't go into her story. She has a whole other story. But she went to go see Raymond Charles Barker speak. Raymond Charles Barker is part of our legacy of New Thought. Anyway, he was 70. He was dressed really nice. He had a head of white hair. And he pulled out, I don't have them, that's why I brought 50s, $100 bills. Just like this. Showed them to the audience. And he goes, I love you. I love you. I love you. And he kissed his money. He says, I love this money. Mary recalls, it says, that she was horrified, thinking he wasn't even spiritual. How could he love money? You know, money is the root of all evil. Then Raymond says this, and I have to read it because it's pretty profound. If you had any thought of repulsion, or judgment about money, money heard you. Money heard you. Why would money go where it's not loved? Interesting, huh? He said, then he would say, and the other thing he says, why would you not love the symbol of your freedom? He said, now imagine if I brought up a little boy and I picked him up and I said, this is my grandson. And I kissed him all over and said, I love you, I love you, I love you. There would be no judgment there, right? No judgment. Well, there's nothing different about me loving money and me loving my grandson. You were programmed that it's not okay to love money. And I've never really thought much about that until having to write this talk. But I can understand what he's saying. So we need to remember that. Love your money. I do this little thing with everybody in class. I say, okay, get your wallets out. Don't do it now. But I'll say, get your wallet out and let's look at where your money is. And sometimes I'll find people just kind of throwing their money out like this, and I go, okay. Then I look at other people and it's like neatly tucked in a nice little envelope or whatever. Love your money. Respect your money. Because it loves you and it wants to give you what you want. The other thing he says is when we get money, we want to make it our friend. Wouldn't you like to know your friend better? Get to know your friend called money. All right, so I'm going to give you a little my own story. And there was a time when I didn't have much money, and most of you know this. But I never thought of it as a spiritual tool. It just was. I had money, and my idea was that, I had to. My story was the part about I didn't have any money, but I had to act like I had it. Interesting, huh? Anyway, when I didn't have any money, it was really hard for me to give it up. Now, doesn't that sound terrible? Give up your money. But at some point, when I chose to walk this path, I made a conscious choice, and I call it conscious give. I consciously decided to give money. And guess who to? A church. At the time, it was Pacific Church of Religious Science. Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn. That was my church. And it's the only place I gave. The thing I want you to get is that as I consciously gave, my life started to change. And I took seriously, and I've told you before, that Ernest Holmes says that, I want you to test this stuff. I want you to prove that this works for you, because if you prove that it works for you, guess what? It will. But then once you see it, you can then use that to go forward with many, many, many other things. So I started to give a little. I gave $5, and that's pretty much all I had to give that was extra, but I gave $5. And then as my income, in fact, that was around the time, I'm trying to think when that was. No, it was several years later, but at some point my income increased. And when it increased, I said, okay, well, I'll go to 10. And at some point it increased more, and I guess I could go to 25. And at some point I started to give 5%, then 10%, and now we're here. The thing is, I had to heal my life around money and not be afraid. And also, which I think is really important, is see that that money goes to the right place. You know, give it where it needs to give. In fact, you're going to see emails from me now where you're not only going to see the associations that I'm involved with, but you're going to see where I donate my money. I give to 3 dog organizations. I realized that last night. Yay. Because I think it's important that we know, where do we give our money? I give to autism. I give to CSL. I give to here. Where do we put where are we growing around us? Who are we affiliating ourselves around? We give to A&TN, Affiliate New Thought Network. We give to New Thought Media Network. We're giving to the places where we're expanding good in the world. To me, that's really important. So again, it's about that circulation, because I know that circulation is going to come back. And I'll just give you one little caveat, which most people don't know, but I'm being voted in to be hopefully in the Heffernan Foundation. Heffernan gives money to New Thought centers, and so I'll be able to. I'm on the committee right now, so I haven't been voted in yet, but I am on the committee, and so I'm excited about that, because now I'm in a position where I can consciously give more money. And it's a bigger extension. It's kind of a cool thing. It's not about lack and limitations. Yeah. So it's not about lack and limitations anymore. It's about, how do we get this word out into the world, and how do we do it? So anyway, I had my first hour meeting this week. It was kind of fun. And they were fun because they were teasing each other, and I got to tease back. So the point I want to make is that we have to change any old beliefs. Let go of those beliefs. They don't serve you anymore. We're in the modern world now. And since you're in this room and you're on the internet, you are hearing the word that you are now abundant. Ernest Holmes says this in Creative Mind and Success. He says, a person is just what they think themselves to be. They are big in capacity if they think big thoughts. They are small in capacity if they think small thoughts. They will attract to themselves what they think most about. So if you're thinking about your lack and limitations and I don't have anything, then guess what? That's what you're going to get. So you're here today to stop that. Now I'm going to give you some statistics, and I thought this was pretty amazing. Years ago, there was a prosperity teacher who calculated that there was enough money in the world for every living person to have $8 million each. Wow. I know, huh, Diane? Wow. So there's no lack of limitations of anything out there. It's all about, how do we circulate it? And it's in our mind. We need to know that our wealth will flow in ways that are for the highest and best. That's where I want to take you today. Where's my wealth being provided? Where is it going? Am I changing the world? Am I affecting the world? Am I making it a better place? The other part of this is that when we are conscious about this, we stop perpetuating the global consciousness of poverty. You're here to thrive. We're here to thrive. That's why you're here today and you're listening to this talk. So my question to you is, are you willing to do this? Are you willing to do this? To look at how you give your money. And I'm not just saying, how do you give it to Ohm? You do that. You do that as a natural part of who we are, because you come here to know you're being fed. And to me, that's what's most important. So I don't worry about our income here at all. In fact, I go around and tell people. I was thinking, in fact, on the way over here, the Wisdom Council and I are talking about how do we take some of our money and invest it so that it starts to make money for us for the future? We're not ready to spend the money we have. So let's invest it into a place where it makes sense. So we're thinking bigger than just how much money we have. I don't know what that looks like yet, but we're working on it. So I want to give you a last thought, and I think this is a thought, when I read this, I went, oh my God, that's where I am today. And I'm hoping, and if I didn't give you this, but you might want to write it down. It's a pretty neat quote. Financial freedom is when you never do anything you don't want for money. So in other words, you don't work at a job that you hate. If you're working a job you don't like, then change your job. Do something you love. Because when you love it, the money will follow. And you never omit doing something you want to do because of lack of money. There's always enough. And again, through all of this, we're at choice. But I read this and I went, oh my goodness, that's where my life is right now. I don't have to lack. I don't have lack for money. God has provided that to me. And what I want to say about that is, and this is the next level, at least for me, has become that where can I help? Where can I help? You know, I have some friends that I can't say who it is, but they're raising a child by themselves. And so probably for the last, let's see, she's 17 years, at Christmas, I go and buy Christmas gifts for them. Because I know that they're on a, you know, their mindset is different than mine. And so I ask, well, what do you want? And they're like, oh, I can't take. I don't want to receive. Don't give it to me. And so I send it anyway. The idea is that if we are in a position where we can do that and we can help others, it doesn't mean I have to give them thousands of dollars, but I can shift that consciousness just a little bit that they can receive, learn to receive. That's important to me. So I want you to think about what's important to you. Can you do that? And it's not like you give $1 million. But you know what? When I see a homeless person and I can really tell when they're really out of it, it doesn't bother me to go up and say, would you like some food? I'm not afraid of them. And some of them don't smell very good. But that's not what matters. What matters is what's in here and what's in here. And not one of them. Only one time have I ever done that where I took him into McDonald's and he kept giving it. He gave the guy 10 different things. I said, no, you get 3. You know, he'd worked this before, which is okay. It's okay, you know. He was smart. He said, I get what I want, okay? The point is we have that way. We have a way to give. In fact, I won't say who it is, but there's somebody that I know who is a real Starbucks fan, and they'll pay for the person behind them. And I've done that in and out. That's always fun. Because they're stuck behind you for a while, and then they go, and they're like this, you know. I had one young girl one time, I don't know, I figured she wasn't going to, I mean, can't matter if she did, but she wasn't going to buy a lot. Anyway, she was like, I think she was late for work, too, so it was like perfect. She got through right away. Think about these things. These are so tiny. This is the kindness part we're talking about. It doesn't take a lot. And the thing is, and you can see how excited I get chills when I think about these things, is it makes you feel good. And the more feel good you can put inside you, the better your life is. Because you'll remember those when things don't look quite as good. So fill yourself with feel good. And then the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to pray, is that when you consciously give, I think I've said this already, I guarantee, this is your minister telling you, I guarantee the universe will give back. Not just a little, but a bundle. It's coming. So let's close our eyes and I'll pray us out. So I'm knowing right here where we are that there is an abundant universe a spirit that I am that is within each and every one of us, that is moving in our lives in so many different ways. And I know that each one of us recognizes that oneness, that we're connected to the infinite, to the flow of life, the flow of God, the flow of money, the flow of abundance. And it's here right now. And so I know and accept for everyone that hears this message that they are a child of God, born into the richness and abundance of the indwelling presence. That everything they do, every ounce of every thought, of every action, is reciprocated by the one. And so I bless all of us knowing that we are doing that work. We hear this message. And this message is over the internet, and the internet hears this message. And it just says, yes, I'm going to try this stuff and see if it works. And so I give great thanks for the ability to be able to stand here and to say that God is our source and that we are abundant and that we are ever flowing that out into the universe. So I just give thanks for that. And I release all the words I've said today into that infinite mind of God in our minds, knowing that it just said yes to all of us. And join me in saying, and so it is. And so it is. Amen.